Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today in this video, we are going to discuss about the parameterized link service option with Azure Data Factory. I'll show you a demonstration in which we will define the parameterized link service and how do you use that parameterized link service in your data set as well as in your pipeline. So this is my data factory instance which I'll be using for the demonstration. So let's click on the manage option. That is where we are going to define a parameterized link service. So for the demonstration, I am going to use the Cosmos DB type of link service because I have this Cosmos DB instance created in my Azure subscription, and that is what I want to use to fetch the data in this demonstration. So first of all, I'm going to click on this new option to define a new link service, and from the link service type, I'm going to choose this Azure Cosmos DB for NoSQL as the link service option. I'm going to give it a name as the Cosmos PRM, which is for the parameterized. Here the authentication type is going to be key only. If you want, you can use the other authentication options which we have discussed in the previous videos as well, such as the system managed identity or the user managed identity. If you would like to refer to the section how to use the system managed identity with Cosmos DB, please refer to my previous videos. So let's continue with that authentication type, which is of account key. Next, you have the account selection method. If you use this from subscription, you will be able to select your subscription in Cosmos DB instance plus the database instance, and that is going to work absolutely fine. I will show you like this. You can use any of these instance type. Let's say these are the databases it has given, right? But I don't want to use this option because we want to select or define the link service which is of type parameterized link service. So let's use the option as a manually entered. Now if you choose the option as a manually entered, what option it has given you is the Cosmos DB URLs, which means that we need to have the Cosmos DB URLs, which you can provide this URL. But again, like I said, we are going to define the parameterized based link service. So I'm going to define the parameter for this value. I'm going to click on add new content, and from here I'm going to first of all choose the parameters. As of now, there are no parameters being created for the link service. I'm going to define the parameters. I'm going to give it a name to my parameter as Cosmos DB URI. Save. The data type is going to be string. I'm going to add another parameter which is going to be Cosmos DB name. Data type is going to be string. Let's add another parameter for, or maybe let's keep it as is for now. Now as we need to provide the parameter name for the URI, I'm going to select this URI parameter. It says that at the rate link service Cosmos DB URI. Let's select OK. That's going to give the link service as Cosmos DB. Now here you can again provide the value of the connection string as directly. You can put the value, or you can again parameterize, but Microsoft do not recommend you to parameterize the sensitive values. So we should never parameterize or sensitive values like connection string or secrets. For that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create or choose this key vault option, and I'm going to define the key vault link service from here. At the moment, we do not have any key vault link service available. So I'm going to create a new key vault link service. Let's choose this option. And from here, I'm going to give it a name to my key vault link service. Let's call it as LS key vault. I'm going to select the option. You can also parameterize this as well if you want to, but for now I'm not going to parameterize this option, which is a link service. So I'm going to choose the link service option. You need to provide the system managed identity authentication to this data factory instance in order to create the key vault link service. I'm going to copy this manage identity value. I'll go to the key vault standard. That is where we have our Cosmos DB connection string. As you can see, this is the secret where we have the value of the Cosmos DB connection string. So I'm going to select the access policy as in the value which I need to set up the system managed identity of the Azure Data Factory to the key vault. Let's click on next, and that is with that we can review the value or the permission we want to set with this key vault to Azure Data Factory. So the permissions are set up successfully, which means that if I now verify my connection, which is the link service for the Azure Data Factory. It should be verified successfully. Okay, see, connection is verified successfully, which means my link service is ready to use. So I'm going to click on create a Key Vault link service. The Key Vault link service is created, which means that if I'm going to select this option, sorry, not this one, enter manually, Key Vault option, select the secret option, which is this one, latest secret, and then database name, which is the third option. I'm going to define the parameterized way of defining the database. So let's use this particular parameter, which is the second parameter we have defined. Just click on OK. Now, just to revise, this Cosmos DB link service having two parameters. One is the Cosmos DB URI and other one is Cosmos DB, and the actual connection string is something which we are reading it from the Azure Key Vault. So everything is safe. Now if I try and test this by clicking on this test connection, it will ask those two parameter values to be provided before it tests. So let me just copy the parameter value first, which is the value of your URI, which is this one. Next value which we need the database name. So let's copy the name of the database. So I'll select the database name from here, which is this one. Provide the value of the database name, and let's click on OK just to save. This is going to test the connection successfully. The connection is tested successfully, which means that our link service is ready to be used. So let's click on this link service, create link service, and link service which is of type Cosmos DB is ready. So now we have created two link service, a Key Vault link service which is going to fetch the Key Vault secret, which is secret or connection string of Cosmos DB, and then there is a Cosmos DB link service which is parameterized link service. If I click on the code option, here are two parameters which it is looking for, and these two parameters are used here and here as well. So my connection string is going to be like this, right? And the account key it's using from the with the help of Azure Key Vault link service, which is using or reading this particular secret value, right? And that is most productionized version of the linked service, or which is the Cosmos DB link service. You can follow the similar exercise for similar step for any of the other type of link service, such as the Key Vault, SQL Server, or any other link service type. The step will remain same. So let's now test and verify this link service in our data factory pipeline or in the data set. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to first of all define a new data set, and then after that we will define a pipeline. So I'm going to choose the data set as in Cosmos DB NoSQL, click on continue. You can give it a name to your data set as, let's say, Cosmos DB. Link service, we are going to use the link service which is of type parameterized link service. We are going to select the option from here. There are no options are given. The reason for that is your link service is dependent upon the certain parameter. The values of the parameter has not been provided, hence the container it's not able to fetch it, right? That is absolutely fine. Let's click on OK, and we will be able to fetch the value of these later on. Now this is our Cosmos DB instance. Now if you click on a schema, at the moment there are no schema values been set. If I click on import, it's not able to fetch or import the data of the schema, or the schema value is not able to set because there is no table values been provided. So for that I'm going to provide the table value as an, again you can parameterize the table value as well if you want to. So to parameterize the value, what we can do, we can click on edit and here add dynamic content, and we can say define a new parameter which is, let's say, table name. So this is my parameter which is in the Cosmos DB I have defined. So I'm going to use this Cosmos DB parameter in the data set. So this is the data set parameter. So now we have two parameters in the link service, and if anyone who wants to use this link service like data set, they need to provide the value of those two parameters. Anyone who wants to use this data set, they need to provide the value of this container or the table name parameter. Now as if I would like to test the value of these parameters from, or if I want to import my schema here in the data set. Now I have to provide these values. Either I can hard code the value, I can paste the values like I've pasted during the test, or again I can parameterize these values as well. So let's try and parameterize this value from the data set as well. So I'm going to give it a name as in the Cosmos DB URI, which is the name of the parameter. I'm going to create another parameter which is Cosmos DB container name, which is our third parameter. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to use this first option as this parameter. So Cosmos DB URI, again, the value of the link service parameter, which is this, is being passed on from the value of parameter dataset parameter, which is Cosmos DB. Similarly, I'm going to add our third parameter, which is container name. So this is how it has been filled in. Having this value in place, now if I would like to test this, what I can do is I can click on import, and again it will ask the same thing. I'm going to pass the value as in record. Having this value in place, if I click on OK, it should be able to use this parameter and import the schema. As you can see, my database schema or my Cosmos DB schema has been successfully fetched right now. If I click again the import, it will ask for the same values, or if it is not been used, right? So with that, my Cosmos DB is successfully used. Let's now click on the pipeline to define a pipeline and use this dataset in our pipelines. I'm going to define the lookup type or use the lookup type activity, which is most simplest and easiest type of activity. Here I'm going to use the same dataset which we have used. As soon as I select the dataset, my dataset is expecting 3 parameters to be provided. So I need to provide the value of these 3 parameters. So let's provide the value of these 3 parameters. Now what you can do is you can either add the parameters to your pipeline and pass the value to your dataset as the parameter of your pipelines. What do I mean by that is I can again go to the parameters like Cosmos DB, Cosmos, right? I have now 3 parameters in my pipeline. What I can do is these 3 parameters we have our data set is expecting. So to provide the value of these parameter to my data set, I can use the parameters of my pipeline. So let's use the parameter of the pipeline. So it's using @pipeline parameters and then the name of the parameter. So it's going to be like this. Next parameter, again I can use the parameter of my pipeline, which is this. Next parameter is going to be like this. Not table name actually. It should be the container name. So it's going to be this one. So now I have these 3 parameters. So if you look at now, so here is my data factory instance. The data factory instance is having this particular pipeline, right? Now this pipeline is parameterized pipeline, which means that if a pipeline needs to be invoked by any process, they need to provide the value of those 3 parameters, right? Table name, container name, and URI. Next, I have a data set. Let's say this is the data set. Again, it has got those 3 set of parameters. Now the value of the parameters are basically actually going from this pipeline to this data set. Now again, the data set is using the link service. So this is my link service. Again, it has got the set of parameters, which is 1, 2, 3, and again the parameter values are going to be flow from here to here. And again, of course, my link service is again using another link service, which is of type key vault link service, which is again another type of link service, KV. So this is how the flow is going to be. So let's switch back to our demonstration. So now we are ready to run the pipeline. So I'm going to click on debug. Now if you look at the lookup instance, here it is trying to fetch the first record. So expectation is that it's going to read the first record. As soon as I click on debug option, it's going to provide or ask for the same values. I'm going to copy the values. Like having these values in place, if I'm going to click on OK, the pipeline instance will use these parameters and it will trigger the pipeline, and hopefully it should connect to the Cosmos DB instance and fetch the data which we are looking for. The pipeline is successfully completed. If I just expand the result, so here you can see that the result has got only first record, record, and that is what we are looking for, right? And this proves that we have productionized our code, we have created a parameterized link service, parameterized data set, parameterized pipeline, and all these parameters are flowing with each other. And if we simply look at the code of data set, let's say if I click on this code option, you would find that we are just using the parameters with our pipeline, which are these one defined here and which are used here in the parameter section. And that is a production version of the code which you should be using. Remember, we are using the keyboard link service as well with this implementation. I hope you have got the idea of how do you parameterize your different resources or your data factory resources, and how do you productionize your code with the data factory. If it is, please do consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. Thanks for watching it. See you in the next video.